Statements by ministers. Statements by ministers. Responses? The member from Nepean Carleton.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to rise on behalf of Tim Hudak and the Ontario Progressive Conservative Caucus to support Pink Shirt Day here in the province of Ontario and, just as importantly, across Canada. I'm very proud of my colleagues here today who showed up in pink. And I know with our wardrobes that we have to pack on a Sunday night, they pre-planned many of these members because they don't come from the City of Toronto. I also had to pre-plan for Pink Day because my daughter is in grade 1 at Manordale Public School in Nepean, one of the finest institutions in this whole province, and they celebrate this Awareness Day. And so on the weekend, my husband and I were planning for the week and made sure that she had something pink to wear today. We were talking about Pink Shirt Day, and it was my husband who came out with a quote from Edmund Burke, one of his favorite, that all that is required for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. I couldn't be more proud of the people in this legislature. From time to time we disagree. In fact, that's normal. But one of the good things about this issue, bullying and eradicating it in our province and across Canada, is the fact that we have people from all three political parties who agree that we need to change things, and we're working hard. Pink Shirt Day was a result of a grassroots initiative in the province I was born and raised in. In fact, the school that introduced Pink Shirt Day was not very far from where my husband went to school. It's Central Kings High School, and he tells me, of course, Central Kings was much rougher than West Kings, where he went. But it speaks to what can happen when we encourage our youth to make a change in their communities. Except in this case, there was a young fella being bullied because he wore a pink shirt to school. So two of the seniors in the school decided they weren't going to stand for that anymore, and they bought 50 T-shirts at a local store, and the whole student body decided they were going to participate, and 50 people showed up and circled that young fellow. Now let me give you an example. Some of you live in big cities. Growing up in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, we had 105 people in our grade 12 class. So that's a very significant chunk of the student population there. Today, people from around the world recognize Pink Shirt Day as a day of change. Now I might say this, Mr. Speaker, we shouldn't just have one day to try and eradicate bullying. It should be every day. We should talk about it with our children. We should talk about it with their teachers. We should make sure that we communicate it so that we do not tolerate it. One very important thing I learned growing up was it's important to respect, not necessarily accept other people's points of view. But it is important that all of us in this chamber know that this is a problem. I have to say that as we move forward with debating bullying in this chamber, there are some significant points on the table, and there's one person in particular since I've been elected to this House that has stood above the rest, that has worked hard to make sure that bullying is not only addressed in our schools but in this chamber. And that's why I'd like to just recognize at this point in time my colleague, Elizabeth Whitmer, a former education minister, a former education critic, a former board chair, and a former teacher, who has brought to this place a sensitivity that I think started long before what we've seen in our schools lately, which is causing some children in our province to take their own lives, or to quit school, or to self-harm. And her leadership, I think, really started much before this issue hit the headlines. And I really want to thank her for that. Now, we have a minority parliament here, and we have an opportunity not only to speak to this issue and to communicate to parents and students and teachers, but to change things with legislation. As a member of the opposition in a minority parliament, I can think of no better time when great minds across this province can get together to put forward the right piece of legislation that will actually solve some of these problems. Right. We can't be politically partisan on this issue. In fact, I urge members not to be. There are too many students who need us to do better. We now know we have race-based, gender-based, height-based, weight-based, red hair, freckle-faced based bullying in our schools. It's much worse than when any of us were there. Now we've got cyberbullying, which makes it feel unsafe to be in your own home if you are a young person who's been bullied. In fact, today I was on Twitter and a global TV IT person was tweeting that she now finds that her former tormentors want to be her friend on Facebook, and this individual is now an adult. I mean, that's how it reaches us, and that's what happens. So let's go back to Edmund Burke's quote. He once said, "All that is required for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing." I say today we are all good people. I know you're all here with the best of intentions. In today's Vancouver Sun, John Izzo took that statement further from Edmund Burke, and he said, "The converse is also true. All that is required to change things is for more of us, parents, teachers, and bystanders, to step up, speak up, and to let our voices be heard." Very well said, John Izzo. And to all of the members in this Assembly, happy Pink Shirt Day. We're making a difference. Let's take that back to our communities. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Any responses?